I would like to tell you how not to make a video game. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 recently. And whatever they've been doing, they've been accidentally making stuff for the wrong game. They've been making all their stuff for some other game that's never been released, and then they accidentally put it into Guild Wars 2. So if we go back to the very, very, very beginning, there is this section at the end of the first part of the Guild Wars story, Guild Wars 2 story. You go in and fight this boss monster. It's near the end of the story, and your teammate guy is saying, "Oh, I can't do it, I can't do it," and this music swells, and of course he does it, and all the people come in around and say, "Hey, oh, we win, we win," and I think, "Oh, this finally must be the end of this awful story," and it keeps on going. So when you have your crazy music where they're going, "Oh, you're not going to do it," and everything goes into slow motion, and they're going, that's the end of your crappy story. You don't keep going. It's like in Lord of the Rings, when Gollum falls into the volcano with the ring. Spoilers, by the way. They didn't keep fighting Sauron for another 10 hours. That was the end of the movie. And then there was like 20 years worth of endings. No, it just keeps going. So we finally get to the dragon fighting part, and it's really epic. What you do is you stand on an airship, and every now and then you press the attack button. But you have to be in a turret when you press the attack button. That's the important part. And then we finally get to the final boss, Zhaitan. This is going to be an epic boss battle. I just know it, because the dragons before, they were slowly circling around. This time, Zhaitan, he latches onto a building or a rock or something, and he just sits there while you press up one at him, and then he dies, and then you win. Turns out it was really easy to beat him. All they had to do was just press one at him. And I'm thinking, okay, this was from 2012. I mean, they figured out video games by then, but maybe the old Guild Wars 2 people hadn't. And I'm going on to Season 2, because Season 1 you can't do. They realized, uh-oh, we can't resell all the living story stuff if we don't let you play it again. So Season 1 you can't play, because that's before they realized they could sell the living story stuff. Anyway, Season 2, I can barely remember it because it's so crap. I think, yes, it was the intro stuff to the Heart of Thorns. There is a horrendously awful boss battle. So before you go into this boss battle, there's a mission where you pick up a thing called Divine Fire or something. It's really hard to remember because it's so crap. And you're in this maze, I guess you could call it. And you meet one of your party members. Somehow you got split up despite the fact that you all arrived there at the same time. It's really confusing. I have no idea. And you meet her, and she says, "Oh yeah, I can light this place up." And that's exactly what she does. She lights the whole place up somehow. You find all your party members. You go to a crappy boss battle. The next mission, you're in a dark cave. And you're like, "Hey, what's your face can light this place up?" So of course, the cat guy, he says, "Hey, I can light this place up." What happened to What's-Her-Face's ability to light things up? Why does the cat guy suddenly have the ability to light things up? So that's the crappy story part. Let's get to the crappy boss battle. So you're thrown into this boss battle, no clue what you're supposed to do, but thankfully, whoever designed the boss battle, they realized they screwed up. So you're constantly screamed at by your party members telling you exactly what to do, except sometimes they don't. Every now and then, there's this little fog monster that comes out. Now, I'm a pro gamer, so when I see it very slowly going towards this fire that I set. Now, as a pro gamer, I know that when something's very slowly going towards something else, you don't want it to touch that, except sometimes you do. So as a pro gamer, I know I'm supposed to kill it. But if you're not a pro gamer like me, you don't know that. And what's going to happen when that fog monster reaches the fire? Oh, puts the fire out and you have to do it again. Now, how do you know that you need to set the thing on fire? Because one of your teammates tells you. There's no explanation of why you need to set it on fire. It just turns out that if you set these 4 things on fire, the dragon monster you're fighting, it just sits still for a while. Why? Because that's why. And whoever designed this, they apparently never played the game, because what you're supposed to do is a shield thingy appears, which you don't know until your dude says, hey, I'll make a shield thingy appear. And what happens is the shield thingy appears over where you're supposed to stand. But under the shield thingy is a red outline. The entire game, red outlines means don't go there because you're going to be damaged. This one time, you're supposed to go where the red outline is. And you're supposed to stand in it. Because if you don't stand in it, a gigantic dragon hand comes out of the sand and hits you. There's no warning either. It just slaps you down. No warning whatsoever. Remember, there's no way for you to possibly know any of this. The only way you can know is that because you're being told exactly what to do. Except for sometimes it doesn't tell you that. And then we get to the end of this awful story and awful boss battles. And for some reason, you have the Pact. They've got all their airships and are going to go attack this plant dragon. And their awesome strategy is to bunch all the ships up together and start shooting the ground. There's no lead up to this. There's kind of a lead up because the Pact is getting ready to attack. You don't know what the attack is. Nobody tells you what it is, despite the fact that you're the commander. And I guess they just assumed you know. And what a surprise when their entire strategy is just to shoot the ground. Oh, it didn't work. What? Whoa, that's weird. It didn't work. Shooting the ground didn't work. Wow. I could have told you that. And let's go to one last terrible gameplay thingy. It's in Fractals of the Mist. It's one of the original Fractals. There is a boss that has a bubble shield around it. It's a lava level, of course. Lava level, always terrible. And you can't damage it. There's no way to damage it. And there's nothing telling you how to damage it either. There's nothing leading up to how you damage it. There's nobody saying, hey, this is how you damage it. You're just supposed to know that there's these rocks on the ground that you can pick up to throw at the guy, and that slightly damages his shield. Now, there's nothing saying the shield is being damaged except this itty-bitty icon with a number on it, and that goes down 1 every time you throw a rock at the shield. Now, I have an option turned on that always shows what items you can interact with. Those rocks don't have anything that says you can interact with it. You just have to know that these rocks that apparently are not interactable according to the options are in fact interactable, and you can pick them up and you throw it at the shaman, the dude, or whatever it was. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is there's a time limit on it. So you have to figure out that you need to pick up these rocks and throw it at the shaman all while a timer is ticking down. How are you supposed to know that? Oh, it's simple. Somebody else figured it out and they tell you how. If you're in a party that doesn't know what to do, well, you're screwed because there's no possible way for you to know that you're supposed to pick up these rocks and throw it at the bubble guy. So you go on to the last boss in this fractal thingy. What is it? Oh, it's a giant fire boss. Every now and then he bubbles up just like the shaman. Oh, well, we learned from the shaman, you throw rocks at him. So you're looking everywhere for a rock. No rocks. So it turns out, despite the fact that on that shaman, the bubble took absolutely no damage, well, this bubble, it takes damage. And you're supposed to hit the fire monster thing until the bubble goes away. How are you supposed to know that? Because last time, the bubble didn't go away when you hit it. You had to throw rocks at it. But this time, there are no rocks, and you have to hit the damn thing until the bubble goes away. Did they play their own game? No, they didn't. I don't think they did. I don't think they had any idea what they were doing. Like, imagine if you were playing Mario and the entire game somebody's just saying, hey, jump on that Goomba. Hey, collect that coin. Hey, jump on that flag. And at the very end, you're fighting Bowser. And suddenly it flights them, and nobody's telling you what to do. You have no idea what the hell's going on. You're just like, why is this a flight simulator all of a sudden? And then you go online and people say, oh man, the flight simulator section was so amazing, because they're idiots. Because they're dumb. That'd be dumb. But people will say, oh, it's great. If you complain about it, they whine and say, oh, you just hate games. Screw you. Oh, one last part. It's either Path of the Fire or one of the living story parts of it. You think by this point, this is like 2016 they made it. I don't remember, 2017. You think by this time, okay, they finally figured out their game. So you get to this boss section, and these bosses are shielded. And no, it has nothing to do with rocks. I hadn't even gotten to the rock part yet by this point. And somebody says, hey, destroy the crystals. Now, first off, I didn't see any crystals. And if I had seen a crystal, I would have no idea I needed to attack it unless somebody told me, hey, destroy these crystals, which they did. Now, I'm looking all over the place for crystals. I don't see any crystals anywhere. And I'm running around looking. Turns out the crystals I need to destroy are way up on the top of a wall. Now, you can't see these crystals from the ground floor. If you're close enough to where they render, the wall is in the way and you can't see it. If you're too far away, the draw distance isn't far enough to see it. You just have to know that the crystal is on top of a wall and you have to go up some hidden stairs to get up to it. And then you hit the crystals and then you destroy it. And then you can defeat the boss. Okay, so I know this. I know I can destroy the crystals, so I can defeat the boss. I get to the last crystal, to the last boss who bubble up. I'm looking everywhere for the crystal. Nowhere. I'm looking for stairs. Can't find it. Turns out there's some stairs some other place that I haven't been to yet. And then you just go up there, those stairs, and there's the crystal. Why? Why hide the stairs? And why would you tell me destroy the crystal? Why not have some sort of lead up to it? Why not have a boss, a little dude that's bubbled up, and right next to him is a crystal. And when you destroy that crystal, he's vulnerable. So when the next time you see that with the boss, you say, hey, I need to destroy a crystal. No, they don't do that. They just make you just have to know where that crystal is, how to destroy it, which thankfully you just hit it with your weapons. And you have to know, oh, they're up on this wall where you can't see it. Because the draw distance is way too low. And there's no way to increase the draw distance. And the story is just awful. Just the most terrible thing. I can barely remember it. I was just so pissed off constantly playing it. Because characters would just appear out of nowhere to be killed off. And then nobody ever mentions them again. Like in the first part of the story, like the very first part, there's this Nord, or whatever they're called. She just comes out of nowhere and everybody acts like they know her, despite the fact we've never met her. And she dies and then nobody cares. Why? What's the point? Like, oh, everybody's dying. And this constantly happens. Like every mission somebody dies. Like, oh, ooh, that reminds me. There was a mission with the it was so dumb with the plant monster. It was it's like Fort something in Keswick Hills. At the very end, you see this person being held onto by plant tentacles, and there's sad music or something, and the camera zooms in. I have no idea who this person's supposed to be because the rendering on it is just so terrible. And then this lady in black, she's going, oh no, like, who is this person? Who the hell is it? They don't say who this person even is until the very end of the cutscene. It turns out she's the person you've met before in a previous mission. It's the sister of the woman in black that you've been partying with. Like, I had no idea. She didn't look like that. The person who was being held onto by the tentacles, she didn't look like the person I saw before. I have no idea what happened. And they can't say they didn't want to get the actor because it's a CG person. It's a computer person. It was the same person, yet didn't look like them. How did they screw it up that badly? I can't remember if that was at the end of the cutscene they said who it was, or if it was the next mission. Because I had no clue until they said who it was. Like, oh, that's who that was. Like, I was supposed to know just from this crappy rendering. Like, I had no clue. I thought it was a guy until they said it was a woman. That's how bad it was. Guild Wars 2, come on. You know what game has a good story? Warframe.